Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another historical humans heritage. And on today's episode, we are venturing to Northern Ireland, which I tend to get lost because 26 plus 6 equals 1. But we're talking about the Giant's Causeway and the Causeway Coast, where we are looking at one of the natural UNESCO World Heritage Sites, a bunch of pillars of basalt rock that jut out of the coastline that have pretty cool mythology associated with it.
Yep. So, start us off with the Giant's Causeway is a coastal plateau in Northern Ireland, and it consists of some 40,000 regularly shaped hexagons of basalt, just basalt columns lined up, 40,000 of them just along the coast.
Like I say,
And
they're normal, but when you're there, it is like one of the more surreal experiences because I don't think most people have seen hexagonal stones
yeah,
sticking out of the ground.
well, no, that's my like the phrase regularly shaped means that they're all about the same size and shape.
Yeah.
It's almost cookie cutter. It doesn't mean like this is the most common thing you could see. It just means that they all have the same shape. It's all regular. It's consistent throughout.
Uh-huh. Keep your secrets.
Yeah. Hmm.
But it's very cool, and it is very weird to see because you could tell it almost doesn't feel natural, even though it is very much a natural beauty thing, because you don't see that level of uniformity or geometric perfection in nature, not that frequently at least.
No, no. It is such a unusual natural site. It is such a unique natural site on Earth that an entire mythos ended up being built around it by the ancient Irish to sort of explain why suddenly several miles of coastline turn into what appear to be some sort of structure.
Ah, yes, the tales of Finn McCool.
Yep. Yep. And that mythology is effectively there is a giant named Finn McCool, which literally means Blondie, by the way. His name is Blondie. And Blondie, as I will forever call him, one day got into a bit of a feud with Scotland, as one does. So he decided that since he did not know how to swim and was in fact a giant, he would haul mountains down and pluck them into the ocean until he could build a bridge to go to Scotland and fight the Scots.
It's not just the Scots. There was a rival giant that he saw in his travels and wanted to pick a fight with the rival giant. And he built the
Nice.
bridge until he realized that the Scottish giant was much, much bigger than himself. So, what they ended up doing, and this is where I love the Irish because the Irish ingenuity and humor is so prevalent in the story, where his wife, Una, she devised a plan because the women are much more smarter than the men. And her plan was that she drugged him. She made him fall asleep when he cooked dinner because he came running back with his tail between his legs. And and as he did so, she drugged his dinner to where he fell asleep. She gave him a beer. That's what it was. She drugged the beer. And he
Yep.
drank the beer, fell asleep, and she dressed him like a baby. So when the Scottish giant came to the doorstep, she goes, "Oh, I'll let you in. Like, is Finn McCool here?" And she goes, "No, he's not. But come inside. Just don't wake the baby. If you wake the baby, you'll have a whole mess on your hands." And as she's sitting there entertaining the Scottish giant, he looks over into the crib where he sees Finn McCool, the Irish giant, sitting there with a bottle in his hand, fast asleep. And he goes, "If that's the baby, I don't want to know what the father looks like." So he leaves, and as he's running away, he destroys the bridge behind him, leaving behind the Giant's Causeway as he made his way back to Scotland.
Yep. That
Oh,
is that is the story. It's just basically a tale of just Yeah, two feckin' idiots.
And that women are smart. But yes, and this is how the ancient Irish described what effectively does very much look like a bridge jutting out of the water. And when you're actually there, there's a land formation that kind of juts up even higher, and it does very much look like a bridge.
Yep. Not to
But
mention, I think it's from about this point where you can kind of make out Scotland on a good day if you're looking in the right direction from here.
so I can speak from experience because I was just here last month, and or back in September, and yes, it was a very clear day, and we could see Scotland. And you could see Scotland because it was only like 9 or 10 miles away across the water. So yes, you very much can see Scotland there on a good day. And the further you go down the coast, the closer it gets.
Yep. And so, naturally, if you can see Scotland, you want to fight Scotland, and Scotland wants to fight you. It is the home of the Scottish. and and the Irish, of course, of the time of this myth, really getting written down and being told all this stuff, would have been in pretty consistent contact via ship with the Scots. There would have been a lot of exchanges going on, some of them not too peaceful. So, it's a very concise mythos. It brings in a lot of things to not only explain the nature, but also to sort of explain the rivalry that's going on between what is effectively Ulster and the Scottish.
And it's kind of interesting too because it is a natural site. It is very beautiful. It's been studied for over 300 years. And even though it is technically a part of the UK, it is held in trust and it is owned by the National Trust. So they run it and they have a lot of planning documents in place. They have management plans set up. And it is very cool because when you go there, there are pathways down, and it's actually kind of cool. They have a little bus that will bus you further down to the coastline from where the visitor center is, because otherwise it's like a 1.5 mile jaunt up a pretty steep hillside. And there's pathways up and down the coast that you could go hiking and running, and it's such a gorgeous piece of earth that it really does deserve the UNESCO listing. I think it's kind of cool that they do these nature sites.
Yeah, definitely. And in the past few hundred years, it's become effectively the de facto symbol for Northern Ireland, for Ulster. It's become very much the primary tourist attraction, the point of pride. It's deserving of those titles, and the fact that it has become synonymous with that part of the island really just speaks to the fact that it is unique and that it is universally valuable, that it is what UNESCO looks for when they assign these sites.
It also is a little sappy but true in that Northern Ireland has had a rough history, and this has brought in a lot of tourists to Northern Ireland. And now out of Dublin, they're running day trips where you can visit the Giant's Causeway, a medieval castle that's in ruins on a cliffside, and then go into Belfast for the afternoon. And like stuff like that wouldn't have been the case 10 years ago. So there's a lot of work in Irish reunification, in trying to build up Northern Ireland as a tourist destination. And this is one of the most beautiful areas on the whole island, admittedly.
Yeah.
But I think that's probably a great point for us to wrap up on today's episode. Thank you guys for watching, and let us know what you thought down below.